والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وله. So inshallah we'll continue our discussion about the next life and so on and so forth. And today inshallah we'll talk about something related to death and the next life. Because we mentioned in the previous halaqat that you never know when your time will come. So you don't give a chance. So we are ready all the time, we make tawbah, we fulfill our obligations to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to people, because we know in Islam stands on 2 feet, your relationship with Allah, and the second one is your relationship with the people. So make sure you fulfill both. And one of the things that a person needs to do is to leave a wasiyah, the Islamic will and testament. So we're going to go through this very quick today, inshallah. I'm going to show you the actual wasiyah. It's very simple. It takes about 5 minutes to do. And sometimes, subhanAllah, some people pass away suddenly. It happens, sudden death, and a person will die. And things will happen and problems will happen to the family and their kids. And sometimes problems happen. So to save you all this hassle, inshallah, we can talk for about 10-15 minutes on the wasiyah, how to prepare your last will and testament, and how to make it binding and acceptable Islamically, and by law it will also be binding. So before we talk about what you need to put in the wasiyah, I'm going to give a short introduction about the wasiyah and why it is important in Islam. We know that the wasiyah exists in other faiths and in other cultures. Yani hatta in North America there is the wasiyah from a legal perspective. So some people leave a wasiyah behind, and while we're working on the Clear Quran translation, one of the brothers we're helping, mashallah, he's a revert, he has been Muslim for about 10 years, and we were translating the ayat in Surah Nisa, and he got very emotional, and I said, okay, well, what's wrong? He said that his grandparents have a lot of land in Alberta and other places. And he said that his father is not getting anything from this, nothing. So I said, okay, why is that? He said, because they don't go by the rules of Sharia, they just go by desire. So my grandfather decided to give all the land to 1 or 2 of his children and to deprive the rest. He's not giving them anything, right? By wasiyah, he wrote his will, and this is what he put in the wasiyah. He gave all his money, all his land to 1 or 2 of his children. The rest are not getting anything. And he got very emotional because I wish that he or my grandparents were going by Sharia, because we would have received something. Because now we don't have anything, and all the money, we're talking about millions of dollars, are going to 1 or 2 people in the family. The rest are not getting anything. And he said, this is not fair. Sharia is fair. This is the brother. So because he put something like this in the wasiyah, everyone else didn't get anything. And in some cases, some people, we heard stories, they have a family, but you know what happens after 18 years of age? The kids move out, they go to school, or they start work, or they move somewhere else. And I'm not talking about Muslims, but in the broader community. So the kids will move out, they go to another state, or they travel somewhere else, and they never call you. And some people, subhanAllah, they die, and they die on their chair, and they're dead for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and no one knows, because no one is checking on them. And because these people, they suffer from loneliness, no one is asking about them, so they decide at the end of their life, you know what, my money, my apartment, my car, my land, will all go to my dog or my cat. We see stories, right? So they decide to give it to their cat or their dog, or to a dog charity or something like this. The stories are so many. طبعا the biggest problem we face is sudden death. As I said in the khutbah today, unless you are a native Indian from the First Nation, you're an immigrant. Some of us come with their families, and some come by themselves. A lot of youth, they come here to study or to work. They go to Edmonton, Fort Mac. They don't have a family, and no one knows their family. And subhanAllah, sometimes accidents happen. You know, the roads are slippery, and people have heart attacks, and sudden deaths happen. And they're very common. And I've seen many youth pass away. And the Prophet ﷺ said, this is one of the signs of the Day of Judgment, that mawtul fuja'a, the sudden death, will be very common. People will die all the time in young age unexpectedly. And I've seen, Allah, so many cases, 18 years old, 22 years old, no medical conditions, nothing. They try to wake them up in the morning, nothing, khalas, gone. So what happens now, if someone dies, and we don't know their family, and they have been here for 5, 7 years, they put money in the bank account, they have lots of money or whatever, no one to take their money. And the money will be taken over by the government because no one here to take the money. In one case, one brother from an African country was in Edmonton. He got into an accident and he died. For 3 weeks, they were looking for someone in the community who knew the brother. No one came forward. And they kept him in the fridge. So of course, when he passed away, they took him after they did an autopsy on the body. They took him to the hospital. Then they brought him to the masjid for Salatul Janazah. We prayed Janazah for him, but no one to take him. And we couldn't bury the body without the approval of the family. Someone has to be there to take care of the Janazah. So they kept him in the fridge for 3 weeks until someone came forward and he said, well, I remember someone who is related to this brother in another country, and the guy from the country will connect us with his family in Africa. After 3 weeks. So things like this happen. And sometimes a person will die, like I heard at least 2 cases. In Edmonton, a brother and his wife, they were driving together and they got into an accident, and they have 4 or 5 kids in the car with them. Everyone was killed in the accident, in the crash, except for their youngest kid, 2 years old. Who is going to take care of that kid? Of course, it goes without saying, the kid will be put up for adoption. If someone comes forward from the family and they go through the legal channels, eventually they will take the baby. Maybe after 2 years, 3 years. But who's going to raise the baby? Could be a Muslim family or a non-Muslim family, who knows? But if no one comes forward, the kid is gone forever. Khalas. Khalas, it's gone. It's finished. Or if the parents pass away and all the kids are left behind, who is going to take care of them? So this is something you need to put in your wasiyah, that in case I pass away, my spouse will take care. And if both of us die at the same time, then you appoint someone to take care of your kids and your estate and your wealth, and to make sure that your family back home will receive the money. In some cases, some of our brothers, they come to this country and they know that the easiest way to get citizenship is to marry someone from here. So they are not very particular, they're not very picky on who they marry, so they end up marrying anyone. And in some cases they marry a non-Muslim. I'm not saying this is wrong, because Islamically, technically you can marry a Christian or a Jew. This is acceptable Islamic, nothing wrong. But if you die, like in an accident or something happens and you die, you didn't leave a will behind, your non-Muslim wife, she doesn't know how to do things Islamically or in a way that is acceptable Islamically. Like there was a particular case, a brother, I think it was in New York, many years ago, he passed away, and suddenly his wife decided to cremate the body. They took the body, they burned the body, Muslim. And his family, some of his family members were there, and they protested and they took it to court. And of course, sure enough, the judge ruled in favor of the wife. Because if you don't leave a wasiyah, the wife will be in charge, right? So the brother was burnt, right? Although his family was protesting and the Muslim community was protesting, but the wife had the upper hand. خلاص, finished. وتخيل بقى تعيش محترم كده وفي الآخر لما تموت يعملوك باربيكيو، صح؟ يعني you live a good life, mashallah, respectable, honorable, and when you die, you become barbecue because you didn't leave a wasiyah. One brother, Edmonton, he is in his 70s now, 75. That was like 3 years ago when I was still in Edmonton. He came to me one day and he said, you know what, Sheikh, after I gave a khutbah about wasiyah, and he said that he knew a brother in Edmonton who passed away like 30 years ago, and he was married to a non-Muslim. So after he passed away, there was no masjid, nothing in one of the places in Edmonton, in Alberta. So they took him to the church, Al-Khori, the priest, he said a prayer, and they took him to the graveyard, non-Muslim graveyard, and they buried him. No Muslim prayed janazah for the brother. He was young, a youth, 20, 25, he got married, he didn't know nothing. And khalas, when he passed away, no family members, nothing, so they took him to the church and they prayed for him and they did a non-Muslim janazah for him. So I asked him, did anyone ever pray janazah for him? He said, no. So I said, Islamically, it's a fard, it's a must on those who know now, like myself and the jama'ah here, to pray janazah for him. And we actually pray jama'ah for him on Jum'ah after 30 years. And this is acceptable Islamically. If you know for sure that someone died, no janazah done for them, you should make janazah for them, and we made dua for him 30 years later. Because there was no wasiyah, nothing. So to protect yourself from all that stuff, you need to do your wasiyah, and it is very simple. And in the Quran, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذَا حَضَرَ أَحَدَكُمُ الْمَوْتُ إِن تَرَكَ خَيْرًا الْوَصِيَّةِ. Surah Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that it's an obligation on you. If it is about time for someone of you to die and they leave something of value, that they should leave a wasiyah. And the Prophet ﷺ said the same thing in an authentic hadith. And Rasulullah ﷺ قال, it is not proper for a Muslim who has something of value to stay for a night or two without having their wasiyah written with them. So if someone has something of value, a house, a car, land, money, you need to put this in the wasiyah. So what do we do in the wasiyah? Very quickly, you can get the wasiyah form. So I put together this wasiyah form. You can go to our website here, anatoliacenter.ca, and you go to, I'll try to make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, so this is our website. You go here to resources and media, and go to downloadable resources, and here, inshallah, you will find the Wasiyah in Arabic and the Wasiyah in English. To make it binding, all you need to do is just to sign it and to get two witnesses to sign. This will make it binding legally and Islamically, except in one case. If someone in the family protested and they took the rest of the family to court, then there will be a problem. And to stop this from happening, if you think someone in the family will protest, you need to go to a lawyer to make it binding by law. They will verify and certify, and they do the legal stuff to make it binding, even if someone protested in the family. So the wasiyah, basically in the wasiyah, you would put your name, your address, and some information about yourself. And on the website, I put it in Word file, a soft copy. It's generic basically, which means you can make all the changes you want, as long as it's acceptable Islamically. Yani, say for example, if you put in the wasiyah that someone who is not inheriting, someone from outside the family, you give them half of your wealth. This is not acceptable because you can give them up to 1/3. But if you go more than 1/3, Islamically the wasiyah will be applied up to 1/3. The rest will be given to the family. Even if you make a mistake in the wasiyah, we will correct the wasiyah Islamically. So you can make one for yourself, one for your wife, or both of you at the same time. You can be together on the same wasiyah. So then you put the rest of the family, like your mother, your dad, your children, and so on and so forth. In the preamble, some people put like an introduction, and in this introduction you say, well, I'm a Muslim, I believe in this and this, I believe in Allah, Tawheed, the Day of Judgment, and so on and so forth. And you mention, for example, if I pass away, who is going to lead my janazah? I want my body to be dealt with in this way. The ghusl, I don't want embalmment or cremation, because sometimes they remove the blood from the body, embalmment, and they do cremation in some cases. And everyone knows, they do the cremation, they say it's environment friendly, but they do it mostly for economic reasons, because it's very cheap to cremate someone. So you say that I want my body to be dealt with in an Islamic way. If the body is going to be buried in Canada, no problem. But if they're going to ship the body to Pakistan, to Egypt, to Somalia, I think they do embalmment. Before they put it in the airplane, they have to remove the blood for health reasons. So this is something we cannot stop if the body is being shipped outside. Wallahu a'lam. Because these are the rules in Canada. Then you talk about the funeral, who is going to lead your janazah, who is going to do the ghusl, and so on and so forth. Very basic things. Then you will talk about the executor or the guardian. You will appoint someone a friend of yours, your spouse, your brother, a family member, and you can put a substitute. In case this person is not there, or he or she is traveling or passed away, then you can put 1 or 2 people to replace them if they cannot be found. And make sure you also put, if I don't have family members in Canada, these people should be contacted. You put 3, for example, contact persons, or you can put more. Call my family in Somalia, in Egypt, in Pakistan. Call my brother, call my father, put their names and their addresses and phone numbers or email, a way of reaching out to them. And before I forget, make 2 or 3 copies. 1 keep with you, 1 keep here with me in the masjid, as it will be confidential, and 1 you will leave to the person who will be the executioner, your friend, family member, who will take care of the wasiyah after your passing. Of course, in the wasiyah, before the distribution of the money, khalas, will be done in 3 minutes inshallah. Before the distribution of your money or your estate, some things have to be taken out from the wasiyah. From your estate or your money. Your debts have to be paid. Your wasiyah, if you said, I make a pledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that when I die, some money up to 1/3 would be given fi sabilillah to an Islamic school or a masjid, or to build a well, or to take care of orphans, something like this, up to 1/3. Also, if you still owe the mahr, the dowry for your wife, this is something that needs to be taken out before the distribution of the inheritance. Because the mahr that you owe to your wife after the consummation of marriage, the mahr becomes an obligation, it's a debt on you. It should be paid anytime when you have the ability. But some people delay it, and that's okay, that's acceptable. The wife has the right to waive some of the amount or the whole of it. But if the person passes away before they pay the mahr, it needs to be taken out of their inheritance before they start distributing the inheritance among the heirs, including the wife and kids and the parents if they're still alive. And of course the janazah expenses will be taken out. Also, what you need to put there, if you owe some money to someone or someone owes money to you. Like in some cases, some of us, we have businesses. And some people, they take stuff from you and they didn't pay, they owe you money. So you need to put here that this person owes me this amount and it is due on this time. And you will do the same thing for the people that you owe money to. Like you took something or some money from someone and you need to give it back, then you need to put here that I owe money to this brother or this sister, it is due on this date, and so on and so forth. You can also leave the state, the money you have. Because in some cases we have some bank accounts, we have money, we have gold, we have certain things that no one knows about. You need to put this in your wasiyah, so people know where your money is. Like if you have a bank account and no one knows about it, if you pass away, the money will be gone because they don't have a way of contacting you, especially if you don't have a family member here. Then you will list all the donations you want to give up to 1/3, and any articles you want to include. You can also put that if something happens to me, what will happen to my kids, and so on and so forth. And eventually you will say that your estate, your wealth, will be divided based on Sharia. Don't go through the details and say that my wife will take 1/8, my mother will take 1/6, my kids will take this and this will take that. Why? Because things happen all the time. And if one person passes away in the family before you, everything will be messed up. So the inheritance will be redistributed. And subhanAllah, in the rules of fiqh, we studied in fiqh of Imam Abu Hanifa, other madhabs, if 2 people are in the car together, and they got into an accident, and they died, both of them. But one of them died before the other, like 1 minute of a difference. So one of them passed away 1 minute before the other. So the second one will inherit the one who passed first. Although both of them passed away, but the estate will be distributed based on that. The person who died second will take his or her share from the person who died first. Then eventually they will redistribute it based on the person who died second. It's very complicated. So don't make a distribution now. Just put this one clause, and I actually put it here, that my estate will be distributed according to Sharia. Then you'll sign your name, signature, and you will get 2 witnesses. and khalas, you put the date and khalas. And you can keep it here in this masjid. There's a small fee, I think it's about $100. And if you ever decide to make any changes in the future, you don't have to pay anything again. It's a one-time fee. But again, this is something that you need to do, inshallah. And if you don't want to keep it in the masjid, again, you can keep one copy with you, one with your friend, and khalas. This will take care of it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you and your families and give you barakah and a long and healthy life. Ameen, ameen. Any questions about wasiyah?
Anything on plain paper, does that stand in a court of law, or you have to notarize it or get it stamped?
You don't have to notarize it, even if it's handwritten. It's binding, it's acceptable by law and sharia, as long as you sign, you put the date, and you have two witnesses. The only problem is if someone in the family protested and they said, well, I don't accept this is fake, whatever, then it will go to the court. But if you want to make it fully binding, even if someone protested in the family, take it to a lawyer. Give them $100, $200, and they will make it binding by law.
So it means if someone does not protest in your family, then it will be acceptable in the court.
Of course. We had a meeting with the Council of Imams, and this is the highest Muslim authority, at least in the GTA. So they agreed, and they sat with lawyers, and they told them, as long as you sign, and you have two witnesses, and you date it, no one protested, it is binding by law and by Islam. Sharia, legally acceptable. Allah. Yes.
Just to make a point, the two witnesses have to be present at the same time in front of the author of the wasiyah.
Yes.
You can't have one witness today and then have the other person sign it.
Because you're going to date it, it's better if you get them together and they sign it and khalas. And you explain to them that this is my wasiyah. If something happens, make sure that, you go by my wasiyah. It's very simple. If you try to fill out the form, it's going to take about 5 minutes. It's not big, as you can see. Very simple. Unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you a lot of family members and a lot of money, then you need to list everything.
And the witnesses do not need to be the relatives.
Not necessarily. Any two Muslims, inshallah, can witness.
Be able to find them, like if there is something in the book.
Yeah, you can find two witnesses, inshallah. It's not a big deal. Or family members. It's not a problem.
Do we actually have to do this, or if we just want to do it, then we do it? Do we just have to do it?
Well, I think it's based on all the situations I have seen and all the terrible stories I heard. I think we should do it to make life easy for our heirs and everyone else in the family. Because again, no one knows what time they will go, and things happen unexpectedly, and khalas. So make sure you make it, inshallah. It's worth doing it. It's just 5, maximum 10 minutes. You put your heart at ease. Now you know that if you go anytime, everything is taken care of. Your money is listed, your debts are listed, your family members are listed, your estate is listed. Khalas. Allah, yes, bro.
Who could be the executor?
You can choose anyone. The imam, your friend, your brother, any Muslim, or anyone who is reliable. You can take care of this, inshallah.
By writing this, you're actually making it easy for the people who will take care of your bank accounts and everything after you leave. Because once you're gone, anytime you go to the bank or anywhere, they're going to say, "Who are you? Show us proof." You have to have something.
I did my wasiyah. I keep a copy here in the masjid, and I listed my bank account number, and I put, for example, my wife as, she's going to take care of the kids if something happens, and so on and so forth. So you make it easy for your family, because if something happens, they know your accounts and your bank number and the name of the bank, things like this.
So your husband need to do separate and your wife need to do separate.
Or you can do both together. You can do both. Again, I left the soft copy on the website, in our website under resources, and it's in Word file. So you can download it, and it's generic. You can make all the changes you want, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
One question.